The top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. calls on local government units to encourage the vulnerable Filipinos, especially the elderly, to receive bivalent COVID-19 vaccines.
The Philippine National Police confirms that the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters are the suspects behind the Maguindanao ambush on June 14.
The Department of Justice confirms the arrest of an inmate and co-accused of former Senator Laila de Lima while he was outside the National Bureau of Investigation Detention Center.
And frantic search for the missing submersible that went missing while en route to the Titanic wreckage nears a critical deadline.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, the 21st of June, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo.
We are also seeing 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Harin Delgado.
First in the news, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. urged the Filipino people to get vaccinated against COVID-19 as their way of protecting vulnerable sector and their way of honoring individuals who have worked hard so that the world could return to a state of normalcy. Nel Maribuhok reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. led the launch of the Bivalent Covid-19 vaccination at the Philippine Heart Center in Quezon City as he reminded everyone to remain relentless in the fight against COVID-19 and other illnesses. He also urged local government units to encourage the vulnerable Filipino, like the elderly, to receive bivalent COVID-19 vaccines.
We call upon her again and all the local government units to bring those who are in the vulnerable category. Hindi ko na lang sasabihin yung mga may edad kasi kasama na ako dun. So, but back to and encourage all of them to get this bivalent vaccine.
The chief executive assured the Filipino people that the government is using science-based strategies and a whole-of-society approach in administering the COVID-19 vaccines to the public. According to Health Secretary Teodoro Herbosa, the first to be inoculated are healthcare workers and senior citizens.
So alam natin ang COVID-19 kills the elderly. So talagang priority natin ang senior citizens. Pangalawa, we all know our healthcare workers are exposed kasi sila yung humaharap dun sa bagong variants.
The health secretary was among those who received the booster shot during the ceremonial inoculation. The government of Lithuania earlier this month sent 390,000 doses of the bivalent vaccine to be used as an added layer of protection against the original COVID-19 strain, SARS-CoV-2 and Omicron subvariants BA.4 and BA.5. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The 2024 National Expenditure Program, or NEP, is in the final stage, according to Budget Secretary and Development Budget Coordination Committee, or DBCC Chairperson Amena Pangandaman. If the Cabinet approves the NEP, they will start printing it until the President's second State of the Nation address. The priority in the 5.768 trillion pesos budget is the 8-point socio-economic agenda of the administration and the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028. The Departments of Education, Infrastructure Projects, Agriculture, Health, and Digitalization lead in allocating the largest funds. The DBCC plans to submit the funding proposal to Congress 1 week after President Marcos's State of the Nation address in July.
And we're happy that we are now in the final stages of the preparation. We had a meeting yesterday morning with the President. We showed the budget to him already. And The same will be presented to the Cabinet tomorrow afternoon for their final approval.
The Philippine National Police confirms that the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters, or BIFF, are the suspects behind the Maguindanao ambush on June 14. PNP spokesperson Police Colonel Jean Fajardo said there are witnesses who identified the perpetrators.
Base po sa ugnayan po natin sa Regional Director po ng POBA ay may mga witnesses po na nakapag-identify po at nakapagbigay po ng information as to the identity po nitong mga possible suspect behind the ambush nga po ng ating mga tropa.
The police regional office in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region were now placed under highest security alert status as part of the defensive measures and pursuit operations against the members of the BIFF responsible for the ambush incident. It can be recalled that armed men repeatedly shot a police vehicle with 6 policemen on board in Sharif Aguac, Maguindanao del Sur. During the ambush, 2 policemen were killed and 4 others were wounded.
Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri signs the controversial Maharlika Investment Fund, or MIF, bill. Zubiri signed the bill while on a working visit at the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C., United States. The Senate leader says many are awaiting the approval of the bill. On the issue of conflicting provision on the prescription period of crimes and/or offenses, Senate Secretary Renato Bantug Jr. says it has been consolidated under Section 50, setting the prescription period to 10 years. The signed bill will be sent to the House of Representatives before the enrolled bill can be transmitted to the Malacanang for the President's action. Aside from the MIF bill, Zubiri also signed the Estate Tax Amnesty Extension Act.
And foreign news abroad, rescue teams are engaged in a frantic search for the crew of a submarine that disappeared near the wreckage of the Titanic, while the missing individuals face a deadline as oxygen levels on board rapidly deplete. The rescue operation has encountered obstacles and delays, prompting concerns over the chances of a successful outcome. Joselito Liquido will tell us the details live. Good evening, Joselito.
Good evening, Elsie. Families of 5 people missing in a submarine near the Titanic wreck face a grim deadline of 10 a.m. on Thursday to find their loved ones alive. The search for the Ocean Gate Expedition submarine has become a desperate race against time as officials revealed that more than half of the oxygen supply has already been used. The submarine firm's advisor expressed frustration over the perceived lack of urgency from the United States officials hampering the rescue mission. The identities of those aboard the vessel have been disclosed, including British billionaire Hamish Harding, renowned French diver Paul-Henri Nargeolet, Ocean Gate founder Stockton Rush, and Surrey-based businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Sulaiman Dawood. Although some on board have extensive experience diving the Titanic wreck, they face daunting conditions with the wreckage lying 3,810 meters below sea level. The tourist expedition, which cost $250,000 per person, commenced on Sunday with the submarine departing from its mothership, the research icebreaker Polar Prince. Rescue efforts involving U.S., Canadian, and French authorities have expanded to cover approximately 10,000 square miles of ocean. Janice Mickelson, a close friend of Hamish Harding, conveyed that rescuers estimated the maximum life support would last until Thursday morning. The U.S. Coast Guard estimated that breathable air may run out shortly after 10 a.m. UK time. Concerns were also raised about the possibility of hypothermia if the vessel lost power. Captain Jamie Frederick of the U.S. Coast Guard reported that remotely operated underwater vessels was conducting a dive at the approximate position of the Titanic, and other private vessels were preparing to join the search. The full descent to the Titanic and return to the surface typically takes 8 hours on the manned submarine. While rescue efforts are underway, critical equipment that could aid the search reportedly is still awaiting U.S. government authorization. Back to you.
Thank you, Joselito Liquido, reporting live from Malaysia. We'll share more global stories with you later. But for now, back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, Elsie. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. The Department of Justice confirmed the arrest of an inmate and co-accused of former Senator Laila de Lima while he was outside the National Bureau of Investigation Detention Center last night. JP Dunez has the story.
Department of Justice or DOJ spokesperson Assistant Secretary Mico Clavano revealed that National Bureau of Investigation or NBI agents arrested inmate Jad Dera and 6 NBI security officers last night. Firearms and cash money were recovered from their possession. Jad Dera is a co-accused of former Senator Laila de Lima currently detained at the NBI Detention Center in Manila. Clavano added that NBI agents received information that Dera was not inside the detention center. They were arrested when they entered the NBI headquarters, allegedly coming from another place.
Well, I can confirm the statement only as to the part na si Jad Dera ay lumabas sa detention center kasama ang mga NBI, they're not agents but they are security officers. 1 plantilla position and 5 that are job orders. No? And totoo na nahuli si Jad Dera nung pumasok siya ng mga 12 midnight last night.
An investigation is currently ongoing regarding the incident and why a certain inmate was able to go in and out of the NBI detention facility.
Itong pangyayari na ito has revealed to us that there is this connivance between certain people in detention and those in the NBI, that allow for them to temporarily go out of the detention center and come back in. So this would not have happened if there was no connivance.
Meanwhile, Dera's lawyer, Attorney Ray Palad, denied the information that his client is a bagman of Congressman Arnolfo Teves Jr. The DOJ also clarified that they have not yet received such information.
Yung paglilink sa Degamo is based only on a tweet ni Nancy. Hindi ko alam kung saan niya nakuha. You have to check with Attorney Topacio yung issue ng 25 and the bagman, but we categorically deny yung issue ng bagman at 25 dyan.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, distributed cash assistance totaling to 5,000 pesos to each family affected by the unrest of Mayon volcano. The DSWD Field Office 5 provided aid to the 4 evacuation centers in Daraga, Albay. In addition, hygiene kits, drinking water, goods and vegetables were also distributed to all evacuation centers in Albay Province.
The mayors of Ginobatan and Santo Domingo Albay convened with Governor Edsel Grex Lagman in relation to the evacuation of the residents not covered within the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone of the Mayon volcano. Alan Manansala tells us why.
Mayor Chino Garcia of Ginobatan and Mayor Joseling Aguas Jr. of Santo Domingo already spoke with Albay Governor Edsel Greco Lagman. This is after the governor criticized the evacuation of some residents not covered within the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone. Earlier, the officials finally agreed on the steps that they will each undertake. In the town of Santo Domingo, a voluntary decampment will be carried out. This means that only those who want to return to their homes within the 7-kilometer extended danger zone will be allowed to go home.
Judgment call pa rin nila kung talagang if they feel safe na magstay kung saan na lugar na they feel safe po.
According to Mayor Aguas, 30% of those who voluntarily evacuated have agreed to voluntarily decamp or return to their homes beginning today. And even if they go back home, their evacuee status will remain and will continue to receive help from the local government.
Lahat po ng mga benefits na binibigay sa mga evacuees, marireceive din po nila. Bakit po? Because, number one, economically displaced sila. Nabago na po yung buhay nila when they stay sa evacuation centers. So, kailangan talaga na ma-maintain yung status na yon.
Meanwhile, those residents who voluntarily evacuated in the town of Ginubatan will remain in the evacuation centers even though it is no longer covered within the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone. This was also the result of Mayor Garcia's dialogue with the governor.
Sa pinaka-sadya ko is yung safety ng aking mga constituents na it's much safer kung dun sila mag-stay sa evacuation center.
Earlier, Governor Lagman also said that the officials will still hold a meeting to discuss how to response efforts can be sustained for residents whether they voluntarily return to their homes or stay in the evacuation centers. Alan Manansala, UNTV News and Rescue, we serve the people, we give glory to God.
The World Competitiveness Yearbook, or WCY, reports that the country placed 52nd out of 64 countries in the world. This is 4 spots lower than the country's placement last year. Bernadette Tinoy will tell us why.
The Philippines' ranking in global competitiveness has fallen by 4 spots from 48 to 52 place out of 64 countries this year, according to the 2023 World Competitiveness Yearbook, or WCY. The country has also consistently placed 13th out of 14 countries in the Asia-Pacific region. Dr. Sir Percival Peña-Reyes, an economist, explains that the low competitiveness rank may result in a low probability of foreign investment in the future.
The competitiveness natin is an indication of our attractiveness as an investment destination. Especially at this time, we are trying to pool all of the resources that we can, di ba? Makabangon tayo from the pandemic.
He emphasizes that the country cannot solely rely on remittances from overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, and revenue from the business process outsourcing, or BPO industry. Due to the limited domestic market, it is crucial to boost foreign direct investments even as the country's growth rate continues to improve.
We have to really try our best, no, to get more FDI and boost our tourism. Yun yung mga paraan eh.
On the other hand, Peña-Reyes states that the country's macroeconomic fundamentals continue to grow with a low inflation rate and higher employment rate. Bernadette Tinoy, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, filed almost 18 billion pesos tax evasion complaints against 3 companies. BIR Commissioner Romeo Lumagi Jr. said the respondents are using ghost or fake receipts in their transactions to lower the amount of tax liabilities. Lumagi added they are operating since 2018.
Itong mga bumibili ng peking resibo na to ay ito ang mga lehitimong negosyante na ang layunin nila ay mapababa ang kanilang babayarang buwis, ang income tax at saka yung value added tax.
The BIR also warned lawyers or accountants who will connive with some business firms to evade tax liabilities.
Panawagan ko sa mga abogado at mga accountants na nag-aabiso sa mga kliyente nila na kayang iwasan ito. Sinisigurado ko sa inyo na malakas ang aming kaso, nahuli na natin yan.
The Bureau is expected to file some tax evasion complaints in the future against airing companies.
Meanwhile, 2 airline companies have apologized over flight disruptions and inconveniences as a Senate panel investigates the complaints of some airline passengers. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
Local airline Cebu Pacific vows to resolve the challenges hounding their operations and service to passengers. This as the Senate Committee on Tourism launched its inquiry on passenger complaints, including overbooking and series of flight delays and cancellations.
Na-move nila yung flight ko instead of 3 p.m. na-move po nila ng 11 p.m. So hindi na talaga ako hindi ko na talaga mahahabol yung flight ko na international. So ayun, nag-refund na lang po ako at nag-book na lang po ng different airline. So hindi po
nakuha niyo naman kaagad yung refund niyo?
Hindi pa po. Kasi sabi nila around 3 billing cycles daw.
Isa po ako sa passengers na hindi naka-receive ng SMS advice or email. So at that time, medyo nagpapanik na rin po ako kasi baka wala akong flight pabalik. Honestly, we were left there without any commitment of food or accommodation while we were waiting for our next flight.
Cebu Pacific Chief Commercial Officer Alexander Lau says they have been affected by the engine crisis and global supply issue. Lau explains these issues result in prolonged delays in delivery of aircraft and spare parts and longer restoration of grounded aircraft.
These delivery delays necessitate changes to our flight schedules, including flight cancellations and equipment changes from larger to smaller aircraft, which may cause some passengers to be disrupted. We express our sincerest apologies to our passengers for the disruptions and assure you that we are committed to resolving these challenges.
In a bid to prevent series of flight adjustments, Lau says they have been reducing the number of flights and will put emergency aircraft and spare parts in place.
I assume na the remaining quarter, dapat wala na tayong maririnig ng mga pasahero na makakatanggap sila ng email from SEBPAC saying na canceled yung flight nila 2 days before or 4 days before a flight.
We are hopeful na ma-minimize yung schedule changes.
Flag carrier Philippine Airlines and AirAsia also vowed to continuously expand their fleet.
We have experienced an increased number of our aircraft that is on preventive maintenance. Most of these are unscheduled. We're not offering any excuses. We are fully aware of the inconvenience to our passengers. Kaya po humihingi kami ng sinserong paumanhin sa publiko sa aming mga pasahero.
Our flight schedule po is matched with the number of aircraft until the end of the year. We are also working on expanding our fleet from 14 right now to 20 by the end of the year.
In response, several senators are pushing to legislate the Air Passenger Bill of Rights to include stiff penalties to erring airline companies. Signed in 2012, the Air Passenger Bill of Rights is a joint administrative order between then Department of Transportation and Communications and the Department of Trade and Industry.
Hindi masyado ganong siniseryoso ng mga airlines dahil nga it has no criminal sanctions. So, kailangan talaga natin silang mag-legislate para mabigyan ng ngipin yung batas.
The Civil Aeronautics Board supports the idea, but also laments that it has been languishing in Congress for years. Several senators also urge the airline companies to improve their customer service and add more representatives that will directly address the complaints of passengers. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Habal-habal operators commit to registering their units once motorcycle taxis are legalized in the country. JP Dunez explains why.
A number of habal-habal motorcycles have been operating illegally as public transportation in Quezon City. Jason and JR are among those who have been involved in this operation for over a year. They claim that being illegal habal-habal operators has been a challenging experience due to encounters with traffic law enforcers. However, they express their willingness to register their habal-habal units once motorcycle taxis are legalized. According to Jason and JR, they are willing to register their habal-habal units.
Oo naman, syempre. Para maging legal na rin kami kasi ang hirap din kaya maging illegal, patago-tago tayo sa mga enforcer. Minsan nahuhuli pa tayo, natitikitan.
Mas maganda kung mali-legal yan para kahit paano hindi ka patago-tago kung mamamasahero ka. Sa kakapusan pa rin, hindi pa rin kakaya, wala pa rin kakaya na para makapag-apply sa ganun.
A passenger advocate group is urging the technical working group responsible for studying motorcycle taxis to expedite the legalization or approval of the motorcycle taxi law. According to Primo Murillo, the group convener, once habal-habal is legalized, they will encourage operators to register and the registration platform will be expanded.
Hindi pa kasi naipapasa yung motorcycle taxi law. Dahil dito, ang talagang kailangang kumilos yan ay yung technical working group.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB plans to convene with a technical working group to discuss the possibility of implementing a cap on motorcycle taxis. Currently, only 15,000 units of motorcycle taxis are allowed in Metro Manila, while 9,000 are permitted in both Cebu and Cagayan de Oro. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A search was carried out at the Paris Olympic organizers' headquarters in the third consecutive Summer Games scandal. Ryuji Sasaki will tell us why live. Good evening, Ryuji.
Good evening, Elsie. French police raided the Paris Olympic organizers' headquarters in Saint-Denis on Tuesday to investigate possible corruption related to a wider and ongoing probe into Olympics-related contracts. Paris 2024 spokesperson Jonathan Firpo stated that the committee is fully cooperating with the French financial police who are leading the investigation. Tuesday's raid, along with other related raids, is said to be linked to two preliminary investigations that had not been previously disclosed. The first investigation was initiated in 2017, followed by a second investigation last year. These investigations examined charges of illegal conflicts of interest, embezzlement of public funds, and concealment of favoritism targeting several contracts. The Olympics have faced numerous corruption allegations in recent years, including accusations of vote buying for the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympics and the 2021 Tokyo Games, which resulted in the removal of several International Olympic Committee members. Paris is scheduled to host the Games from July 26 to August 11 next year, followed by the Paralympics from August 28 to September 8. Back to you, Elsie.
Thank you, Ryuji Sasaki, reporting live from Japan. China has been considering establishing a new joint training facility on the Caribbean island and nation of Cuba. However, the discussion between the two countries has not yet been concluded, which causes concern because it may lead to the stationing of Chinese troops off the coast of the United States. As a result, U.S. officials from President Joe Biden's administration have been trying to discourage their Cuban counterparts from finalizing the deal. Furthermore, the latest report came days after the Biden administration confirmed that China had maintenance operations in Cuba for years and was upgraded in 2019. Meanwhile, a current and former U.S. official says that the new military facility could be a part of China's Project 141, intended to expand China's military and logistical support network across the world. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Elsie Marcos, live from Auckland, New Zealand. Good evening.
Experts are reminding the public about the potential dangers of lato-lato, including eye bruises and noise-induced hearing loss due to excessive exposure to the sound. Gladys Tuwabi will tell us why.
Filipinos have developed a fondness for using and playing with lato-lato, a toy consisting of two balls connected by a string. However, this toy creates a sound that is comparable to an 85 decibel blender. Research indicates that prolonged exposure to sounds at 70 decibels can be harmful to hearing.
When you're looking at 85 decibels, no, kailangan po within 8 hours lang ang exposure mo. Other than that, pag lumampas ka po doon, no, kunyari 8 hours ka naglato-lato, it can cause a noise-induced hearing loss. And unfortunately for this hearing loss, medyo ano po siya, permanent.
In addition to potential hearing damage, lato-lato could also have adverse effects on the eyes.
Actually, kahit anong item, when it hits your eye, even if it's blunt, pag sinabi nating blunt, hindi yung sharp, hindi siya nag-penetrate. Nasuntok ka, natamaan siya ng object, natamaan ng bola, pwedeng may tinatawag tayo na globe rupture, no? O rupture ng eye globe mo. So ito, it can cause blindness. Pwede ka talaga mabulag dito.
Experts emphasize that there is nothing inherently wrong with playing lato-lato, as long as it does not disturb others. However, the Food and Drug Administration recently issued a warning to the public about purchasing and using lato-lato that has not undergone safety and quality inspections, as it may pose health risks to consumers. Gladys Tuwabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Summer solstice occurs during the month of June. This is the time when areas in the northern hemisphere experience longer daytime. Ray Pelayo details why.
Metro Manila today experienced a 13-hour daytime, with the sun rising at 5:28 a.m. and set at 6:28 p.m. However, in Batanes, the daytime is 22 minutes longer. Today marks the time when the northern hemisphere is exposed to longer periods of sunlight known as the summer or June solstice.
Na kapag ka ganitong month ng June solstice, the earth is tilted towards the sun, making the northern hemisphere exposed. And so, ang lahat ng mga lugar na nasa northern hemisphere ay makakaranas ng mahabang araw at maiksing gabi.
In contrast, the southern hemisphere, like Australia, experiences shorter daytime and longer nighttime during this period. The summer solstice also signifies the start of summer in the northern hemisphere and winter in the southern hemisphere.
Sinasabi po na summer solstice, pero pagdating sa Pilipinas, hindi po natin po pwedeng magamit yung summer, sinasabing summer. Sapagkat dito po sa atin, ang month of June ay siyang rainy season. Kaya po ang summer niyan ay talagang doon po nagagamit yan sa, especially sa Amerika, na kung saan ngayon sila nag-i-enjoy ng init ng araw.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the various challenges and uncertainties, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of Members Church of God International.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 31, it says, "Whether therefore ye eat, or drink, or whatsoever ye do all to the glory of God." And those are the reasons behind the news, June 21, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Harleen Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.